Welcome to this episode of Living in Tucson, your Tucson real estate connection. And hot off the press, the numbers are out for the Tucson housing market report for June 2022. I'm going to dive into this numbers, and this market is definitely starting to shift. And I'm going to tell you what that means depending on whether you're a buyer or a seller in this market. Hello, Tyler Ford here, Tucson, Arizona, eXp Realty. And each and every month I do the Tucson housing market report. And if you look back over the last couple reports that I've done for May or June, I predicted that May, June would be the top end of this housing market. And again, I'm going to go over some numbers as to why I still think that. But for the last couple of years, we've been in a seller's market, even pre-COVID seller's market. And I've always been saying it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when in terms of when this market would start to shift. But we are starting to see a shift. And I think we're going to go from a seller's market to a neutral market and eventually a buyer's market. But I'm going to go over the numbers and reveal as to why that I think that. And towards the end, whether you're a buyer or a seller, I'm going to go over some key things to think about in this market as a buyer or seller. But I wish at the end of the day, I had a crystal ball and I could predict the market. I can't, but all you can do is make an educated decision based on the numbers. But that's what I'm going to do here is go over the numbers to help people navigate this market, whether you're a buyer or seller in the Tucson housing market. So let's dive on into the numbers. The first number I want to go over is what we call percentage of list. And that is when somebody lists a home for sale in the MLS, what percentage of the list price are they getting? And in a normal healthy market, percentage of list is anywhere from 92 to 97%, meaning that if somebody listed a home in the MLS, they're going to get between, let's say it's listed for 100,000, they're going to get anywhere from 92,000 to 97,000. And over the last couple of years, you know, that percentage of list has been pretty close to 100% and slightly over 100%, meaning sellers are getting slightly over their asking price. And that's still holding for June 2022. And percentage of list for single family homes listed in the MLS was 101.4%. And for townhomes and condos, it was exactly the same. It's the first time I've seen percentage of list being the same for single family homes and townhomes and condos. So for townhomes and condos, percentage of list 101.4%. So sellers in June of 2022 were getting 1.4% above the list price in the MLS. The next number I want to dive into is what we call months of inventory. And that is if no other homes were to hit the market today, how long would it take for all the inventory to be sold off in the MLS? And in a normal healthy market, months of inventory is anywhere from about 45 days upwards to 90 days. And we've been well below that for the last couple years. But, you know, this month is the first month in a long time where months of inventory for single family homes has been more than a month's of inventory. So we are starting to see days on market go up and inventory going up, which goes into calculating months of inventory. So months of inventory for single family homes, if no other homes were to hit the market today in the MLS, there's 1.3 months of inventory, which is approximately about 39 days of inventory. So again, if no other homes were to hit the market today, within 39 days, all the homes in the MLS would be sold off. For townhomes and condos, month's supply of inventory was 0.9, which is about 27 days. So for townhomes and condos, if nothing were to hit the market today, all the inventory would be sold off in approximately 27 days. Now let's go over what we call days on market. And that is when a home hits the MLS, how long does it take from listing in the MLS day one to going under contract? Not from the time that you list until the time that it actually closes. It's what is called days on market. And in a normal healthy market, days on market's going to range anywhere between 45 days upwards to about 60 days. We've been well below that, as everybody knows, for the last couple of years. And sellers have definitely been in the driver's seat and can anticipate a very fast time from listing to going under contract. That's still the case, but it's a number to keep an eye on, whether you're a seller or a buyer, in terms of watching days on market. It just tells you how to go about things. If you're a seller out there, you know, the challenge that sellers have had right now is things happen super fast, and the challenge sellers have is, you know, they sell something and then they're struggling to find out where to go because it can happen super quick. On the other hand, you know, buyers have been extremely frustrated because days on market's been really low, and you got to act fast, have everything in line when you submit an offer in order to be in a position to be able to get your offer accepted. So days on market for single family homes for June 2022 was 15 days. So from the time that somebody lists a single family home to going under contract, on average, that's going to happen within 15 days. For townhomes and condos, days on market was 11 days. And again, townhomes and condos, just because there's not as many homes listed and the price point is lower, townhomes and condos have been a hot commodity, and they're moving super fast. So just something to think about in terms of whether you're a buyer or seller and how quickly homes are going under contract. By now, you're probably asking, what are home values doing here in Tucson, Arizona? And as everybody knows, our last couple of years, they've been going up and away. We've seen double-digit appreciation rates over the last couple of years. And this is the first month in a long time where single-family homes didn't go up in value. So I'm going to dive into the numbers. I'm going to talk about the median and not the average. The average sales price, you could have a really expensive home sell, which could bump the number up. So the median's a more stable look at what home prices are doing here in Tucson, Arizona. So the median home sales price for June 2022 for single family homes was $385,000, which year over year is an appreciation rate of 13.2%. And again, we've seen double-digit appreciation rates, so we're not seeing that right now. And for townhomes and condos, the median home sales price was $265,000, up year over year 15.7%. But for single family homes, the median sales price actually went down by $1,000 from May 2022 to June 2022. Single family home median sales price was actually $1,000 less. So again, we're starting to see this market cool off and slow down, and we're not seeing the double-digit appreciation rates that we've seen over the last couple of years. Now I'm going to go over my favorite number, and that is inventory levels. Economics 101, supply and demand. And over the last couple of years, we've had far more demand than supply. Supply has drastically gone down, demand gone up, which has put double-digit appreciation rates over the last couple of years, and home values have more than doubled over the last couple of years. So it's a number that I track and look at daily. Each and every month I do a live where we log into the MLS. I've kept an Excel spreadsheet for the last year where we put those numbers in, and it gives you a really good visual of what's going on. So I encourage you to jump on that live or go back to my YouTube channel and look at those. But inventory levels for Tucson for June 2022 for single family homes, there are currently 1,601 active listings in the MLS, and that number's up 41.1%. So inventory levels have almost doubled from a year ago. So just something to think about. Inventory levels are starting to tick up, and we're seeing that in a lot of the numbers. So if you're a seller out there, even though days on market are still low, you can anticipate days on market starting to go up, and the median home sales price did reveal that home values are not appreciating at the same rate. So if you're a seller out there or somebody looking to want to sell, you still have an opportunity to try to capitalize on the top end of this market. But again, if you wait too long, and I remember it vividly back in 2008, it happened fast. fear is a much stronger emotion than greed. And when this market turns, sellers are going to have unrealistic expectations, and they're going to look at past sales thinking that they can still get the top end of this market, and they're going to price their homes too high. They're going to sit, and as a result, it's going to put downward pressure on pricing. So if you're a seller out there, in my opinion, it's really, really important to listen to your agent and price your home correctly. The detriment to any listing is pricing your home too high. And especially in this market, as things are starting to change, you need to anticipate and be ahead of the curve so your home's in the best position to still sell quickly. But again, if you get greedy and price it too high, your home's going to end up sitting, and we're starting to see that. So something to think of. For townhomes and condos, there are 191 active listings for townhomes and condos, which again, starting to go up year over year. Townhomes and condos in terms of listing up 29.1%. So we are starting to see some changes. And again, if you're a seller out there, you want to price your home correctly and not have unrealistic expectations in terms of, what the market's been and what's currently happening and the changes that we're starting to see. So again, something to think about. And again, you just want to be really careful when you're pricing your home and pricing it correctly so you can still get your home sold fast for the most amount of money in the least amount of time. Well, that wraps up this month's Tucson Housing Market Report for June 2022. And just as a recap, this market, in my opinion, is slowly starting to shift. If you're a seller out there, I would encourage you to get your home ready and sell it sooner than later to capitalize on the top end of this market and net the most amount of money. And as a seller, just make sure you've got realistic expectations in terms of pricing and not overpricing your home, which can be the detriment where it's going to sit longer and you're going to end up netting more money. So just have realistic expectations and make sure you price your home correctly. If you're a buyer out there, I would encourage you just to be patient. Sit tight. This market is starting to shift. You're going to have more opportunity in terms of more homes to look at, be able to negotiate price, be able to negotiate seller concessions, and also repairs. If you're a buyer out there buying on an FHA or a VA loan, I would encourage you to possibly save more money, because at the end of the day, if you don't have a whole lot of equity and this market pulls back and you're upside down, that is no fun. And you want to have enough money to weather a storm when and if this market does shift. So I would encourage you, if you're not putting a whole lot of money down, just maybe sitting tight and waiting for this market to slightly pull back. The other thing to consider, over the last couple months, interest rates have gone up, and even though they're relatively low, by them going up and home values being as high as they are, home affordability is as high as it's ever been, and people are no longer able to afford the payments based on what we call debt to income ratio. So another reason this market's slowly starting to shift and the brakes are being put on in terms of the Feds raising rates. So on a 30-year fixed right now, you're looking at 5.3%, which is up 2.5% from the low. 2.5% on a payment has a huge impact. And again, home affordability is going up as a result of interest rates going up. And on a 15-year fixed, you're looking at 4.45%, which is up 1.7%. So again, my opinion is, if you're a seller, I would get moving. And if you're a buyer, be patient and wait and let the right property and opportunity come to you. Keep in mind, we've got a 16-foot box moving truck. So if you use us to buy or sell a home, you're more than welcome to use our truck. And even after the fact, down the road, if you ever need to move appliances or furniture or pick something up at Home Depot or Lowe's, you're more than welcome to use our truck. Thanks for watching this month's Tucson Housing Market Report. If you enjoyed this video and got some value out of it, do me a huge favor and give me an internet high five by liking the video. If you've got any questions or comments, go ahead and comment below. And for more awesome videos about living in Tucson, your Tucson real estate connection, make sure you subscribe to the channel. In the meantime, make it a great day.